Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. It is box day. You know how much we all love box day. So let's not let the fact that this thing's in a raggedy old Amazon box take away from the excitement of this moment, because there's something very cool in here. Let's check it out. What could it be? What could it be? It's something from Volcminer, we know that. Okay everybody, are you ready for this thing? Let's get this thing out of here. This is the Volcminer D1 Mini Pre-Scrypt Miner, and I am very, very excited about it. This thing looks really cool, and it's actually surprisingly heavy for what it is. It's about like a cinder block. Okay, so right now I've got 17 devices online mining away, and one could make the argument that I really don't need any more miners. I don't need more mining devices. But here's the thing. All of those devices are SHA-256 miners, and SHA-256 is the algorithm used by Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin 2 and a whole bunch of others, but I don't have any scrypt miners. Now, scrypt is the algorithm used by Litecoin and Dogecoin and Bells, even though nobody cares about Bells, at least I don't. And so I've really wanted to get into this for a while to kind of evolve as a home mining enthusiast or whatever I am. And ultimately, I decided on a few different models after doing a ton of research and watching a whole bunch of videos from guys who know a lot more about this stuff than I do. Now, I ultimately decided on the Vulcminer L1 Pro. But the thing about that one is, Vulcminer just announced the L3, which is better than the L1 Pro. It's got a higher hash rate, it's more efficient, it even looks cooler. And so, why spend a bunch of money when a superior model is going to get released here in a month or two? It just doesn't make any sense. So then I started looking at more affordable models, kind of budget, entry-level Doge miners, just to get my feet wet and figure this stuff all out. Now I looked at a bunch of models like the AlphaPex DG Home 1, and they just released the DG2, the Gold Shell Mini Doge, and a whole bunch of others, and of course this thing right here. Now the DG2 by AlphaPex just got announced, and that one got a lot of hype. That one gets 2.4 gigahashes per second, and it uses like 580 watts. Now this one only gets 2.2 gigahashes per second, but it only uses 500 watts, and so looking at the specs, even though this thing has been around for a while, it got released earlier this year, it still seems like the most attractive proposition as far as specs are concerned. And based on the videos I watched and things I read about this thing, people really seem to like it. And so I decided to give this thing a try. And I like it. It looks cool. It's heavy. It just looks like a solid, well-built product. So what we're going to do is plug this thing in and make sure it works. Because if it doesn't work, this video is going nowhere. So hopefully it does. Then we'll get connected to the pool and figure out exactly what to do with this thing. Does it make sense to pool mine with it and just stack up Doge day after day? Or does it make sense to solo mine with it, which of course is a lot more fun and exciting and ultimately what I want to do with it anyway. And with this thing, you're supposed to be able to do like a merge solo mining. So you can solo mine for multiple coins at one time, which sounds incredible. So let's plug this thing in, make sure it works, and then figure out if this thing lives up to the hype. Is it as great as the specs and the endless YouTube reviews would lead us to believe? Let's find out. Okay, so quick disclaimer. I have a lot of stuff plugged into the surge protector over there, and I did the math and I think it's gonna be okay, but it's very possible when I plug this thing in, it's gonna trip the breaker and everything in this room is gonna shut down. So we'll see, but fingers crossed, hopefully not. Here we go. It's plugged in, magic button, nothing's happening. There we go. Okay, this thing's all set up and it's mining away. Now, we were off to a bit of a rough start, and the reason for that is this. When you get this device all plugged in and running, you have to scan the network to figure out what the IP address is, because there's no LCD screen on this thing to tell you. And so I used a tool called Angry IP. I scanned the network, and I couldn't find it at all. Tried a bunch of stuff. All the devices were devices that I already know of, and so I was very, very frustrated. As it turned out, I ended up unplugging the Ethernet cable from the router and plugging it into a different port. That solved the issue. I don't know what the deal was, but that worked. All of a sudden, I was able to find it on the network, and we were good to go. So then I get over to the Volcminer dashboard here, which at the time was in Chinese, which made it difficult, but obviously easy enough to click some buttons and figure out how to switch it over to English here. But at first, when I tried to input my pool information, it just kept restarting, and then the pool information would be gone, and so nothing was happening. So I fooled around with this for quite a while, and what I ended up doing was going to the Volcminer website. I went to the technical support area, I downloaded the latest version of the firmware for this device, I went to upgrade over here and I uploaded the new firmware image. Now, once I did that, everything worked just fine. Sometimes when you buy these devices, maybe they packaged yours up, you know, right when there was some sort of buggy release on some firmware. It happens. And so every time I get a new device, I always update or upgrade the firmware first thing I do, just to make sure that I'm running the latest and the greatest. It helps to avoid a lot of problems, and it makes sure, or ensures rather, that you're using the best possible firmware version. So once we did that, I was able to put in my pool settings, and now, as you can see, this thing is mining away. But taking a step back here, let's talk about how I selected the pool or pools that I'm going to use for my Volcminer D1 Mini Pre. And I did that like this. So if you go to miningpoolstats.stream, this is what I use for all of my pool information. It's got every pool on there, all the reputable ones anyway, for pretty much every single coin that you can mine for, and it's really a great, very valuable resource to people like me. So since I'm particularly interested in Dogecoin, you go ahead and you click on Dogecoin, which is number 2 as far as top mined coins. And on this top 10 list, if you go down this row here where it shows the types of mining available, the first one that offers solo is Mining Dutch. Now, Mining Dutch I've used a ton in the past, and it works. I know the system well. I've been paid out from Mining Dutch, so I trust Mining Dutch. And of course, since they offer solo mining, that is the one that I decided to go with. Now, once you get into Mining Dutch, this is a pretty cool feature. So at the top right, there is an icon that says Getting Started. That's my beautiful daughter running around here in the lab this morning. I'm a family man, and I like my kids around while I'm doing my thing. It is what it is. Makes me happy. Anyway, if you click Get Started or Getting Started here, you go down to the mining settings generator and you just input all your stuff. So I know I'm on the scrypt algorithm, and you can go ahead and select your device. It's got a whole bunch of them in there, and so I'll select Volcminer D1 Mini. My region here is North America, and it already plugs in the device hash rate, so you don't need to worry about that. And then it just spits out the miner configuration settings, everything that you need to take and plug into your dashboard. It makes it very quick and easy, and then you are good to go. From there, you go back up to the top right here and select your workers. Now, that shows you what's going on, what your workers are doing. And currently, my worker is, I just have one on here because I only have one miner connected to Mining Dutch. It is solo mining for Litecoin, but it's also solo mining for Dogecoin. And that's the coolest thing about this device. It is simultaneously solo mining for 2 coins. That's one of the benefits of the scrypt algorithm. And so it's a lot like having 2 devices, which is awesome. Now, to do that, you just go to Customize Miner Configuration. I select my miner group. I know I want to mine for Litecoin, and that is right here. And then you just go down to mining mode and select solo mining and then apply your settings. That's pretty much all you need to do, and it's doing its thing. It's mining away. But let's talk about, does that make sense or not? Why do I want to solo mine with this thing instead of just have this thing make me some Litecoin and some Dogecoin all day long? Because it could do that. Here's the thing about that. So if you go over to miningnow.com, this has a list of pretty much every single ASIC miner that is available for sale on the market. And I've already selected the Volcminer D1 Mini Pre. Now this gives you a breakdown of how much money you're going to make. It already calculates how much you can make in a day, and then you can input your cost for electricity. So this says 7 cents. I wish I paid 7 cents for electricity. In fact, when we're over in Turkey, I think we pay a little less than 5 cents, I think is how it converts. But here in the United States, we pay like 13 cents. It's insane. So I'm paying almost double what this thing shows here. So let's plug in 13 cents per kilowatt hour and then let it load and do its thing. And you can see here on the profitability area, the income per day for this thing is $1.81 if I'm pool mining with it. The electricity is going to cost me $1.56, which means I'm going to make 24 cents per day if I decide that I want to pool mine with this thing. 24 cents a day. That's not good at all. I am all about solo mining. Solo mining is fun. It's exhilarating. I love to wake up in the morning and see if one of these things solo mined a block. That's why I love these things. I do not love them for the fact that they make 24 cents a day. So I don't plan on ever pool mining with this thing. This will be a solo mining machine for the remainder of its existence. But on that note, let's take a look to see what the odds are of this thing actually successfully solo mining a block. So we go to solochance.org, and we have already selected Dogecoin. We'll start there. Now this thing gets 2.2 gigahashes per second, and so my chance per month of solo mining a block is 1 in 39. Now, if you solo mine a block of Dogecoin, you get 10,000 Dogecoins, which is worth 1,500 USD approximately right now. But let's say roughly 1,500 USD. So you've got a 1 in 39 chance every month of doing that, or you have a 100% chance of making $7. I think I'll roll the dice and I will try to solo mine a block of Doge. However, this thing is also, it is simultaneously mining for Litecoin. So let's see what the chances are as far as that goes. And that's a little bit lower, the odds. The chance per month on that is 1 in 86. So a little bit harder, but it's possible. So chance of getting a Dogecoin is a little bit better. So not as exciting as a Dogecoin block. A Dogecoin block is worth about triple the price of a Litecoin block, and your odds of getting a Dogecoin block are actually better. So pretty cool. That's the breakdown on this thing. Okay, so back into the dashboard here, we can see this thing is getting an average hash rate of 2.23 gigahashes per second. Now I have this thing running overnight. I just restarted it because I added in Power Pool as a backup pool. We're going to try that out one day just to see how much money this thing does make, or how many Dogecoins and Litecoins and whatever it will make if I run it for 24 hours, just to get a sense for exactly how much it'll make. I mean, I rely on those calculators to some extent, and generally they're pretty accurate, but due to the fluctuation in crypto, it can always change. And so we'll do an experiment one of these days, and we will see, again, how much can I actually end up with if I let this thing run for 24 hours, doing its thing and doing like conventional pool mining. Not exciting, but for research purposes. But I was seeing about the same. So 2.23 gigahashes per second, it advertises 2.2, so we're exceeding that slightly. So that's good overall. And again, you know, the fact that this is mining for 2 coins, it really does make it like having 2 devices. And that's the thing I really like about this. That's the exciting portion of this for me. This thing so far, I like it a lot. There were some issues getting started. It happens. You know, sometimes you're just going to encounter things when you set up a new device. But overall, it was pretty easy, and I'm excited to see the way this thing's working. Now, one thing to note too is, this says it's using 457 watts. Now, I need to measure it from the wall because I don't know how accurate that is. But if that's the case, that's very, very good. They said that this thing uses 500 watts, and so if it's 43 below that, that is outstanding. That's actually very efficient, and that would put this as one of the most efficient small Doge miners that exists. Again, I don't know how accurate that is, though. Okay, I'm going to keep you posted on what happens with this thing. We'll make more videos about it. I'll definitely make a video where we run this thing for 24 hours and see what it's capable of earning with pool mining. I will definitely make a video if it hits a block, a Litecoin or Dogecoin block. And if anything else exciting happens with it, if it like comes alive at night and like it starts glowing red and like scary voices come out of it, or like a creepy laughter or anything like that happens, we'll definitely make a video. If you have any questions, let me know down below in the comments. I've only owned this thing for now like 10 hours, so I'm no expert by any stretch. I am very new to all of this. And in fact, if I said something incorrect here regarding scrypt mining or the way this works, that's because I'm brand new to this stuff. I'm no guru, I'm no expert. There are people that know far more about this stuff than I do. But of course, if you have a question, I will do my best to answer your questions to the best of my ability. Anyway, that's all I got, folks. Thank you so much for the support of the channel and for tuning in as always. We have another video coming up soon where I talk about BitAxe regular maintenance. BitAxe, NerdQAxe++, all that kind of stuff. And then I also have some additional devices to review this week. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff going on here on the channel. Feel free to subscribe if you like, but I'm not going to beg you. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's okay. But if you want to see more about home mining stuff, I'm talking about it pretty much every single day. And we got a lot of fun stuff coming up if you're into this sort of thing. So thank you again for tuning in. Have an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you next time.